Hi everyone, I'm glad you're here because I know that when you're here, that means we're going to talk about family minimalism, and that is literally one of my favorite things to talk about. Today's conversation is particularly special because this is a part of a Routines and Rhythms playlist that I'm doing in collaboration with some people from around the world who are also interested in minimalism and decluttering and simplified living and mindfulness and just all these great things that we love learning about and experiencing. So my hope is that after you and I have this conversation, you will check out some of the other folks. I'm going to link the playlist in the description box and wherever else I can figure out how to link it. And yeah, definitely check it out, okay? In the meantime though, let's have our conversation. How do you get your kids to make the bed? I think my morning routine is very similar to yours. It's all about getting everybody ready for whatever it is we're going to do that day. That takes a lot of energy. The hardest part of that is making the bed. It just is. I am not an expert on this. I am on this journey with you, but I have found some strategies that are they're kind of hidden. They're kind of working for me. And so I want to share those with you and you let me know what you think about them, all right? Okay, so the first strategy that is really working for me, it has taken a mind shift, but registering that I need to make the bed with my kids. In the past, I would have said, okay, go upstairs and make your bed. Don't come downstairs until you make your bed. Some kind of framing that made this a very isolating and lonely experience for my kids. And so I gotta stop that because I can't encourage my kids to do something through negativity, right? Like that doesn't feel good. So I'm realizing that if I commit to myself to make the bed with each of my 3 kids every day together, then it's more likely that they're open to it and they're willing to do it and it doesn't feel like a negative thing. For the school year though, during the day, my husband is gone. He wakes up and leaves early in the morning. So before school for us, it's just me and the 3 kids getting ready. And there's not time. I have not figured out, I won't say I haven't figured out. I'm not willing to wake up earlier just so we can all make the beds. So part of me committing to make the beds with each of my 3 kids has meant that making the bed does not necessarily happen before school. Sometimes it happens after school, sometimes it happens in the afternoon. Of course, the later in the day it happens, the sillier it feels, but it's a commitment. We gotta do it every day and we gotta do it together. Another strategy that is really working for me is kind of being mindful about how I talk to each individual child about this idea of making the bed. This goes along with any time you try to get someone to do something that they don't necessarily just automatically care about. You start by thinking about what it is that they do care about, and then you do the work of connecting what they care about with the action that you want them to take. One of my children has always been interested in increased responsibility, independence, being seen as older than they are. And so once I kind of registered I need to connect making the bed to that, then that's really worked for me. I've started talking to that child about how being an older child, being an adult, is about feeling responsible for the things that are in our care. Doing some of this kind of routine maintenance stuff that's not really fun, but it sets us up for the kind of day that we want to have. Making our bed, getting the oil changed in our cars, maybe pulling the weeds from the garden. These things that are not necessarily fun, but they get us to where we want to go. And so the first time we had that conversation, I was pretty impressed. So that did actually click with that child. That conversation would not have connected with my other 2 kids, and that's fine. There are different ways to talk to each child depending on what it is that they actually care about. One of the next strategies that has been really helpful to me is, again, I'm realizing all of these, as usual, are things that I need to do within myself, but lowering my expectations. There's not going to be any, crisp folding of sheets or any of that, especially we have bunk beds in the room. The top bunk is not going to be great, but it is important that as I am releasing responsibility and putting my kids in a position to do this more independently, that I don't then go behind them and say, oh gosh, I appreciate the effort, but it's not a win. I don't want to go behind my kids and remake their bed because it sends the message that their work is not meaningful, it's not good enough. And I don't want that. I want them to feel like this is good, they're on the right path, and it is worth trying again tomorrow. It is worth taking time to take care of the stuff. That is something that I want my kids to begin to think about and understand. So these strategies, I hope, put us all in a position to do that. All right, so let me know, what do you think? Are you working on making the beds with your kids? Like, do you have ideas about how to get them to make their beds? Are they similar to mine or are they different? I would love to hear from you and hear how this idea of like getting your kids to make the bed, how does that work in your home and in your family? In the meantime though, let's plan to meet here again soon so we can continue to talk about family minimalism and simplifying and decluttering and all that really cool stuff. And make sure you check out the playlist. It is going to be linked down below, and like I said, wherever else I can figure out how to do it, all right? So check it out, and I hope you take care, and we will talk soon. Bye.